Hello, and welcome to Lost Love Chronicles. In today's story, our alpha guy extracts vengeance using poison ivy juice on his cheating wife. Stay tuned as someone is going to get itchy. Let's get started. I am Tony. 28 male met Kathy 24 female, who I believed was my soulmate. We shared a loving relationship that lasted for about 2 years, culminating in a grand wedding after a 10-month engagement. Her family was well off in a quaint southern town, and we were both pursuing our educational goals. I was working hard to support us while pursuing a master's degree in engineering. And she was in the final stages of completing her doctorate in anthropology. During the summer, an enticing opportunity arose for her. She had the chance to work as an aide on a religious studies trip to Jamaica, which not only meant she could explore this beautiful destination, but also get paid for it. Initially, I saw no downside to this arrangement, except for missing her and being home alone for 6 weeks. Unbeknownst to me at the time, it turned out that she had been engaging in a passionate affair with a professor who was already 55-year-old, had arranged the trip. This professor had previously been a part of our lives, having hung out with us, shared in some of our experiences, including smoking my weed and drinking my beer. I had considered him a friend and had no reason to be suspicious. As the months passed, it became apparent that this trip was a way for them to carry on their romantic involvement across the beautiful landscapes of Jamaica. I remained blissfully unaware of the situation, keeping myself occupied by taking on extra work shifts as I couldn't match her earnings from the trip in our shared accounts. To my shock and dismay, one of the students who had been on the same trip reached out to me to reveal the truth. At first, I found it hard to believe, dismissing it as hearsay. However, fueled by my growing suspicions, I began to investigate the situation myself. My desperation led me to break my own trust boundaries and check her text messages while she was asleep. To my dismay, I found nothing there to confirm the infidelity. But then I noticed a few voicemails. My curiosity got the better of me, and I decided to listen. It was in one of those messages that I heard the voice of the man I had considered a friend expressing his excitement about their secret rendezvous in Jamaica. This discovery shattered the illusion of my relationship and left me in a world of emotional pain and confusion. I went through her laptop and uncovered a series of emails that mocked me for being unaware of their passionate affair, often even taking place in our own bed. Kathy even mentioned how she loved the new positions that her app taught her. The app professor also mentioned how he loved the way Kathy could ride. They seemed to derive immense joy from my ignorance, and it was heart-wrenching to read. As the days went by, it became increasingly apparent that they were also exploiting my homemade weed-infused lube, a product of my hard work, to enhance their intimacy. This revelation filled me with unreasonable anger. I felt like a complete fool for not having seen the signs earlier. It finally struck me that I was nothing more than a source of amusement for these individuals, and they were even using the lube I had created in our own bed. At this point, I was no longer hurting. I was consumed by a desire for them to experience some of the pain and betrayal I had been through. While she was studying at the library, I decided to concoct a plan. I crafted a fresh batch of weed-infused lube, making sure it had the usual scent. However, I added an unexpected ingredient, poison ivy from our backyard. I filled the spray bottle we typically used for application during intimacy and waited for a few days. If you liked our story so far, please subscribe the channel for more such chronicles. I tried to keep myself occupied by working extra shifts to stay away from the house as much as possible. Then the moment arrived. When she was asleep, I enacted my plan. I surreptitiously took her phone and deleted my contact information. And an eventual move, I switched the professor's phone number in her contacts to mine. I couldn't sleep because I was anxious like a little kid on Christmas. When morning came, she was in the shower. And I received a text from her. She asked if I was okay because she felt itchy. This was the moment I had been waiting for. I texted her back pretending to be the professor she had been involved with. I told her that I had herpes and that she probably had it now too. While she was still in the shower, I heard her make a surprised noise. I had to keep myself from bursting into laughter. Then I continued texting her pretending to be the professor. I said that I wanted to end things because a new semester was starting. And I was interested in another teaching assistant. When she came out of the shower, it was clear that she had been crying. I could see the anger in her eyes. She was visibly uncomfortable, fidgeting at the table while drinking coffee and thinking about the situation. I thought that a little push was what she needed. She received a reply to her angry and sad messages which basically said, "Thanks for the good times, but can you keep this a secret between us? I don't want to ruin my chances with anyone else." I could see her boiling with anger, and she stormed out without even saying goodbye. I had a feeling she was headed to her professor's office. I quickly started up her laptop and set it to reformat, erasing her dissertation and any related notes. Then I rushed to campus, parked a little distance away, and hurried over to his office. When I got there, she was yelling at him for giving her herpes. There were quite a few people there, professors, students, and other faculty members. She was crying a lot in front of her peers, and he looked extremely embarrassed and confused. At that moment, I felt a strange satisfaction, not even caring that people might think she had herpes. However, what happened next was quite intense. The situation caused a lot of chaos and trouble in the departments. He ended up losing his job due to a violation of the city's code of conduct. We got divorced the following year. In our state, the law required us to be separated for a whole year before we could officially get a divorce. When we split, I got to keep most of our savings. It wasn't a huge amount, but I had worked hard for it. My ex-wife never finished her doctorate and took on a different path. She became a stay-at-home mom who sells Herbalife products on social media. The professor who had been involved with her now teaches at a high school. It took a few years for all of these changes to happen, but for me, it was a bit satisfying to see how everything turned out. It's almost like a real-life story of those people on Facebook who sell products through multi-level marketing schemes. Dear listener, if you have reached this far, please click on the subscribe button. It will be a great help.